This is the new Osight XR. Let's get into it. Included in the box, obviously you have the sight. You get the magnetic charging case. You get a silicone lanyard for the charging case. You get a USB-C charging cable. You get this set of hardware that has every single size screw that you could need for mounting the Optic. You get the tool, which has a Torx as well as a flathead bit on it. You do get a cleaning cloth. You get a branded carrying pouch. And then you also get the user manual. But here it is. This is the Osight XR. This is Osight's brand new Optic that has a lot of really cool features. And before I get too far into the video, Osight is having a sale on this right now, and it's going to be selling for $60 off. So the normal MSRP is $299, and right now it's selling for $239. So that's a pretty good saving. So I'll leave a link to that in the description, as well as a link to the Amazon page in the description. But yeah, so right off the bat, you can see that this is a brand new design from them. It strays away from their traditional, the RMSC as well as their RMR footprint optics, and it kind of combines the two. But this also has some really innovative features as well, which I'll get into in just a minute. But just looking over it, you can see on the top you do have the magnetic charging pad, and that's where the case will connect. And then I believe this also does take a regular Olight charging cord, one of their magnetic ones, if you don't want to use the case. Around the front you do have the lens. It is multi-coated. You do have a bit of a shelf here. On the left side you have your plus and minus buttons, and then that also is how you interface with the Optic. It's how you change the reticles and everything like that. Further back you have this little button here, and that actually works in conjunction with the irons on the back. So you can see you do have these iron sights here, but this button actually works. These are a collapsible iron sight, which is the first of any pistol optic that I know of to have this feature. So you can push it down, it'll lock in, and then it's just flat on the top right there, which is how I would run this personally 99% of the time. But if you want to use these iron sights, push the button and they pop right back up, and that's a really cool little feature. On the right side, nothing besides the windage screw, and then on top, right between the irons, you have the elevation adjustment screw. Then you do have your mounting holes as well, and then you notice you have your rear lens as well as your front lens. This is a fully enclosed optic. And then on the bottom, nothing there besides branding and information. Looking at the charging case, you do have some nice texturing here to help grab you when you pull it off the Optic. You have the Osight branding. You have a button up here, which allows you to see the current percentage that the case is charged at. And I really like the Osight branding in the different color LED as well. So you have the white Osight, and then you have the gauge here, which shows you the battery percentage. And then whenever you connect this to the Optic, it goes from showing you the case to showing the Optic battery percentage. And then around the right side, nothing. Branding on the back. You do have your lanyard hole here as well as the USB-C charging port. So that's how you charge the case. And then on the inside, you just have you can see the contacts in there where it makes contact with the Optic itself and charges it. And that's the charging case. So going over how the Optic functions. First, turn it on manually, push the button, and now the Optic is on. I zoom in on the ground, you can see the reticle there. To turn it off, you press and hold the minus and the plus button at the same time, and there it goes. So for motion sensing mode, this does have motion sensing mode, just like some of their other optics. To turn that on, you got to double tap and hold the minus button for 3 seconds. So if we go ahead and do that, you can see that it just flashed twice, which that means that it is now off. It does come from the factory with motion sensing mode on. So go ahead and put that back on, double tap and hold that. And it's going to flash once, and there it is. And what motion sensing mode does is it basically allows the Optic to sit on. You can leave the Optic on, and then after a certain period of time, it will automatically turn off to save the battery life. And whenever you pick up the weapon, it will detect the motion, and then it will automatically turn back on. Obviously, with the Optic on, we can focus on the ground again. Your plus and minus buttons are going to adjust the brightness. You can see when you get to full max, it will blink to show you that it has hit the maximum. And it does get very dim. I do believe this is night vision mode as well. So for the most innovative feature about this, it does have multiple different reticles. But not only that, it does have 2 different dot sizes. So some of their other optics, you could switch between the crosshair as well as the dot, or the dot and the crosshair. This one, you can do that as well, but if I press and hold the minus button, it's going to cycle through all the different options there. So you have the small dot, and then you have the crosshair, and then you have the large dot. This does have a 2 as well as a 6 MOA dot, and you can choose every combination between the two. There's the dot itself. We're going to cycle through that. There's the smaller dot with the crosshair, larger dot with the crosshair, and then crosshair only. And then if you just hold it, it goes right back to the small dot. So the 2 MOA dot as well as the 6 MOA dot. This is the first optic I've ever seen to have multiple different size dots. That's a really cool feature. And then another really cool feature is you can leave the optic on, and when it's mounted to a gun, put your charging case on it, and that will automatically turn the optic on, and then it will charge the optic. And then the second that you want to use it, you pull it off, and now the optic is going to be back on. It automatically turns the optic off to save power when it's charging, and then the second you remove the protective charging case, it's going to kick it right back on. And then on the left side of it, you can't see it now. So if I go ahead and hit the plus button to turn the optic on, yeah, you see the little green dot there? It's very dim, but it is very noticeable. That will show you the current battery percentage that the optic has without using the magnetic charging case. So there are different color dots. There's green, red, and yellow that mean different percentages that the battery is at. So going over the size and shape of this optic, we're going to do the length, width, height, as well as weight and specs. So length is going to be 1.91 inches. Width is going to be 1.18 inches. Height is going to be 1.16 inches. It weighs 1.69 ounces or 48 grams. It is 1.5 meter drop test rated, as well as IPX7 waterproof rated. For the run times, these are measured at 100% brightness. I know a lot of optics will write these measurements a couple brightness settings down from max to make it appear longer, but this is measured at 100%. For the 2 MOA dot only, it's going to be 54,000 hours. For the 2 MOA dot with the crosshair around it, it's going to be 25,000 hours. For the 6 MOA dot only, it's 35,000 hours. For the 6 MOA dot with the crosshair, it's going to be 22,000 hours. And crosshair only is going to be 27,000 hours. So really impressive runtime, and recharging is super easy with that case. So obviously this is a RMR style optic, so it's going to fit all handguns with the RMR footprint. That's what the optic is mainly used for. But since it's an RMR footprint, that also gives you a lot of other versatility to use it on different platforms. So Osight does sell these mounting adapters. So this is a small low-ride one, and this will convert it over to Picatinny. They also have a Picatinny high-rise mount. So basically these will convert it over and let you use it on shotgun, rifle, whatever you want to with a Picatinny mounting adapter. Pretty much any platform with a Picatinny rail you can use this on. So here I have it mounted up to a shotgun, and this is one of my favorite uses for these small micro pistol dot optics. I've personally been using the Osight X on this shotgun for a little while. I love the large window as well as the fact that you can change the reticle. But now that this one's out, this will most likely be my main optic for this shotgun. And overall you can see it fits really well with the mounting adapter that I have, the low rise one. If I was going to run this on a rifle, I would use the high-rise co-witness one. But yeah, here you can just see it fits really well. And it also sits at the perfect height to co-witness with my stock irons if I wanted to. The stock ghost ring just clears right over the plane. And then if I didn't have these, I could just use the included ones to co-witness with the front fiber optic. It's at the perfect height. But since I do have the rear ghost ring, I'll just push these all the way down and lock them into place. And now look at that, perfectly smooth. But yeah, going into my overall opinions, I do really like this optic. It's nice to see a new design from them that combines the best parts about the SE and the S with the size of an RMR footprint optic. I love that it's an enclosed optic. It fits very well on handguns too with this little shelf here. The collapsible irons are really cool as well. I've never seen that on a pistol optic before. And then the fact that you can change reticle dot size is the biggest selling point to me. Because for handguns, I like a large dot. Like the 6 MOA is the perfect dot size for handguns for me. In my experience, it makes the dot acquisition a little bit quicker on handguns. Now for rifles, I usually like a smaller dot. So if I was going to run this on a rifle, I would go ahead and put it down to the 2 MOA, and then that would be perfect. So it gives you the best of both worlds. No matter what you want to run this optic on, it will have a good dot size for you. I do wish it had an ambient light sensor. Again, that's one of the complaints that I've had with some of their other optics, that it doesn't have the ambient light sensor. And what that would do is it would would basically sense the brightness of the room that you're in or the environment, and then it would automatically set the dot brightness to the perfect one for that situation. This doesn't have it. A few of their other optics do have it. I wish this had it, but again, not too big of a downside. But yeah, besides that, there's no real drawbacks to this optic. And when it's off sale, it's a good deal, but now that it's on sale for $60 off, that makes it a great deal. Compared to like a Holosun, it's almost half the price. Compared to like an Aimpoint, a Trijicon, whatever, it's less than half the price of one of those optics, and it gives you a lot of really cool features that you can't find in those optics. I also am not the biggest fan of rechargeable optics. I usually like a disposable battery. However, this one is done perfectly with that magnetic charging case, and now that it's mounted up, you can see just how easy it is to clip it on and off. Just goes right over top. It's charging it whenever you want to use it, and that also turns it off too. So you can leave the optic on, put the case on it, that'll turn it off. Whenever you want to use it, rip it off, and you're good to go. But yeah, I am going to leave a link to this in the description. Definitely go check that out if you're interested. The sale is going to run for a few more days, and if you do like the video, be sure to hit like, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and thanks again for watching. See you guys.